Hey everybody, so we are back here at Pianoland after doing that show at the ROM where we were road testing the ES920. We're gonna head down to the studio, check out the footage we got, listen to how this instrument sounded through the microphones, and show you our reaction. Some of you were also asking what settings we were using on that machine for the gig. Of course, it makes sense. So let's first take a look at how I had the ES920 set up. So one of the things I did, and I'm not sure if anybody could see this in the recording, but I had rolled off the top high and the low low just a little bit so that the EQ was a little bit more mid-focused. Because I knew I was going to have that volume really boosted, I know the most potent or the most powerful part of the speakers in terms of projection is going to be those mid-range tones. So I didn't want it to be either too boomy, and I certainly didn't want those highs to, to be too aggressive. So being that the volume was kind of up and around the 80–90% range, we had that EQ rolled off just slightly so that we had sort of an EQ shape that was looking like that. Yeah, so that's the EQ that we were using in the room. Next, we were definitely on the SK Concert Grand sample set. And then in terms of some virtual technician settings, so we had touch curve on normal. Voicing was normal. The one thing that I often play with, especially when we're in kind of more reverberant settings, is actually the hammer noise. And so I had the hammer noise elevated a little bit. I think by default it's on 5, which is kind of halfway. I had that up around 7, just so that there was a little bit extra punch, a little bit extra kind of percussiveness to the attack on the note. Sometimes if you don't have that and you're in a more live space, the attack of the note can get swallowed up a little bit. So I find that just gets me a little more connected with the sound or with the overall experience. Other than that, everything else was stock as is, just the way that Kawai has this set up out of the box. So just 2 really fairly small adjustments to get the instrument where I felt that sound was really performing well in the space. So now let's head down to the studio and have a really close listen to what we actually got and have our first peek at some of the footage. So one thing I was hoping that the mics would pick up, and I think they actually did pretty well, is that despite being a pretty kind of cavernous room or a very reverberant room, there was still a lot of nuance and complexity coming through with the tone, and the tone was still super full. I would have loved if we'd been able to get sort of in front of the mains so that Justin's voice was a little bit clearer in the recording, but we really wanted to make sure that we were only capturing the sound of the ES920 with its own speakers in that space. Everything you were hearing in there was just coming through the onboard speakers of the ES920, and that was probably at least a 40 or 50 foot high ceiling with lots of glass. Yeah, I would say kind of mission accomplished in terms of demonstrating that this really can do very well, small, medium, even kind of beyond medium-sized rooms. Definitely in terms of onstage monitoring. There's no way for that size of space you could have been without mains. But if we'd been a smaller room, medium-sized restaurant, smaller-sized restaurant, club, something like that, I mean, those speakers would have filled a room up really quite nicely. In terms of how people responded to the gig in person, that was super positive. I mean, we had all kinds of museum staff members coming up and commenting that they'd really enjoyed the music, but that they thought the sound was great. So yeah, overall, I was really happy. If you'd like to see more videos like this or have other experiments that you'd like us to try kind of out in the real world, we'd love to hear the ideas, and if we can do them, we'll definitely slot them in. Take care. My name's Stu Harrison. This has been Merriam Pianos on YouTube, and hopefully we'll see you back for some more videos. If you would consider subscribing, we'd love to have you back. We love the comments. We love the community. Take care. We'll see you soon.